looking for
We're live.
technology.
We're live now. We're live now. Hey, welcome to the off night with your host, Mark Sweetman, and standing next to me. You're on, man. It says live.
All right. All right. Okay, now it says I'm on. Yeah. Still, we're both 10 seconds apart. This is very frustrating. All right, I'm going to bring everyone else on here, and then I'm going to get out because I can't, for whatever reason. I'm going to get on my phone because it seems to be the phone is the thing that allows you to. I'm hardwired into the internet, and it's not working for me. So, all right, first, let's bring out. Well, Sam just disappeared. All right, let's bring out Jason.
We got Jason. He's over there. He's all curly haired and
very frustrating for him.
Got it.
Now it says that we're live, but the counter's not working now.
I still see the counter moving.
Oh, now it is.
It says live at 108, 109. It's still counting.
Yeah, I got one at 113, 114.
All right, now I'm gonna. Now, right now it says I got 59, 1 minute, 102.
Yeah, you're about 20 seconds behind. 20 to 30 seconds.
Yeah, you're behind. You're behind.
Are you guys getting the same timer on yours?
Nope.
I got 130 on mine.
I got 135 on mine.
See, I'm on the same counter as Jason. Andy's behind us. You're about 5 seconds behind us.
Right now, I have 150.
If you're because
Jason, what do you got?
Oh, 2 minutes.
I am.
I'm a second behind you.
I'm at 131 right now.
You're you're half a minute behind.
See, I think it's the server at Steam.
Yeah, I'm right where Jason is. When Jason said 135, I'm at 135. And Andy's behind us. I don't know what the deal is.
No, mine says 222.
Unless the timers are screwed up.
I think they are. Yeah, I think it's SteamYard. I think they're not doing a good job.
54. So
do you want to try your phone, Mark?
I'm right where Jason is. Yeah, Jason and I are. Yeah. So Andy's a little bit behind. Well, let's see what happens if Sammy gets back. Who? Oh shit. Well, but maybe we should do something else then. I could. Google has a stream. Yeah, you're still behind me. I'm at 230.
I'm at 330.
Of course, when I say I'm at 230 and Jason. Well, that sucks. They were good for two. They were good. They were good for 2.5 years. Yeah, let me. We're done with the theme music now, so I guess I can go back and use my phone and try that. I'm way behind.
So try your phone again.
Oh, StreamYard. All right, hold on. Just a second. What's that?
All right. Let me hear you, Mark.
Oh, says I'm live.
So you're on the phone?
Enter studio. Here we go. And let's put that right there.
So are you back on your hard thing or you're on the phone?
All right. Oh, I'm gonna put my name in there. Hold on. Let me put my name in here.
This is what is it? Was it?
Enter
It's like
studio.
Substitute Leo. Is this Substitute Leo?
There we go. Let me see what we get here.
Is this Substitute Leo? Substitute Leo.
The theme music now, so I guess I can go back and use my phone and try that.
Oh, I'm way behind.
StreamYard.
All right, hold on just a second. Let me...
Wow. How did you do? How did you think you did last night? How did you think you did last night?
I think I did one of the better sets I've ever done last night.
Yeah, it sounded like that.
I'm not trying to brag or anything, but it just felt good. I felt like I had reasonable control of the material. Came out of the gates stumbling and bombed right away. Made a pretty good recovery though.
I didn't hear you bomb. You didn't bomb. Did you bomb?
You know, I mean, if I'm not hearing throngs of laughter, then obviously it's wrong, terribly, terribly wrong. I mean, there's only two settings to this whole thing, right? I mean, 0, you know, I mean that's it. I managed to use some old material that I reworked and finally got some of the kinks out of it and made them a lot funnier than they've ever been. I did a little fragment of a new one that I'm working on that didn't go as well as I'd hoped, but it, you know, first time out of the gate, it's going to take a little work, you know, it just, what can I say?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there's Mark again. Very stone-faced.
All right. It looks pretty good, I guess. Says we have 3 guests. Oh, there's Sam Greenfield. Let me put him in here. There we go.
One thing I was impressed with.
I've been backstage for 10 fucking minutes. What is this? The Sunshine Boys Discover Radio? Jesus Christ. Should we look for him?
He's poking me.
Does this thing turn on? Does this turn on? I need a tube. But get the fuck, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Did you hear that Elton John bought his rabbit at a treadmill?
No.
It's a little fit bunny.
Oh.
Oh. Turn him off. Turn him off. That's a cruel, unusual punishment for us.
Explain that one to Andy.
I don't listen to him that much, but I do get it. So, you know.
That was his first big hit, your song, that song.
Yeah. It's a little bit bunny. Yeah. A little fit bunny.
Fit bunny.
I said fit.
Tour for the last time. So he says.
So I guess I got to find something other than StreamYard.
You know what I found out that surprised me? I went to the doctor and she was young. She was a young doctor. And we were talking about, you know, famous people, you know, who have appeared on stage at Madison Square Garden. And she said she's not someone given to bad mouthing celebrities because, you know, you catch someone on a bad day and all of a sudden they're horrible. But she said, with unequivocally, the worst prick she has ever met in her life is Billy Joel.
Really?
Wow.
Eviscerated this waitress, left her a $4 tip on $300.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you hear about the Greg Abbott fiasco down in Texas?
Which one?
The one where they went into a restaurant and he had an entourage like about 25 people,
but no wheelchair.
Yeah. No booster seat.
Yeah, park it, Crip.
Anyway, they only had 2 servers, ran them ragged, didn't leave a tip. And I guess one woman in the party said, "You should be honored that you were able to wait the table of Governor Abbott."
Wow.
Bite my ass, you speed trap shaggots.
Hillary did that back in I want to say 2008 when Obama was really starting to eat her lunch, and she was up, I believe, in New Hampshire, and did something right along the same lines, and then someone rushed in a couple days later to tip the waitress a 50 spot. But by then, it's been done.
Let me say something in Abbott's defense, which I never thought you'd hear out of my mouth, and Hillary's defense, Hillary's defense. They rarely, if people at that level, rarely, if ever, are responsible for the gratuity. In other words, someone else is supposed to do that.
Yes.
You know, and the fact that, you know, and this isn't to Hillary's credit, because if it took 2 days, that's inexcusable. But at least someone found out, you know.
Well, the thing that
Greg Abbott found out that the waitress was Hispanic, and he said, screw that bitch. So put her on a bus and send her to Philly.
Yeah, if you know everything about corporate world, you never get tips from the corporate guys.
No,
they're wonderful people. It's a delight.
You know who leaves huge tips? Huge tips. Rappers, and boxers.
Yeah. Yep.
50 Cent left $20,000 tip.
Damn.
Curtis, what's his name? Sweet Pea. What's his name? The boxer who's just very his whole thing is defense. He's like a middleweight.
Yeah.
Thousands of dollar tips, you know.
Wow.
Terrible tipper, LeBron James. Terrible tipper, Michael Jordan. Terrible tipper, Scottie Pippen.
Yeah.
I told you the story. Pippen is so bad, his nickname in Chicago is No Tippin' Pippen.
Yeah, I've heard stories about him. He's not well liked.
I would call him out. If he didn't, I would go outside and say, hey, shithead. Just because Michael Jordan made your career doesn't mean you got to make mine bad.
I had a friend of mine who waited on Eric Clapton when he was in Michigan.
And who? Pippen?
No, Eric Clapton.
No, Eric Clapton he's talking about.
And again, nice tip. And he really appreciated the fact that they didn't make a big deal over him being a rock star or anything. He just wanted to have a quiet evening, have a dinner and talk with some of the people he was with. And he left behind about $150 tip. So
nothing wrong. You know who leaves a nice tip? Amy Schumer.
Well,
I waited on her.
Okay.
She left me a $20 tip on the $20 bill. And that night she came back with a friend and left that waiter a C note.
Oh, wow. Nice.
That's good news.
Yep. Nothing wrong with it. And somebody said, she only left you $20. I said, it was a $20 tab.
Yeah. That's
She left me 100% tip.
100% tip, yeah.
What am I supposed to stomp my foot?
Well,
I know you got more, babe.
Miss Schumer, you do not know how to do math, apparently.
Oh, by the way, did you hear the story about, I think this is on YouTube, about Stern giving a math quiz to the Trump family?
Howard Stern?
Yeah. Well,
no, Isaac Stern. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah. He said, if I play a G7.
Isaac Stern's math quiz is 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2,
That's
3,
right. He asked the Trump family, who are all, may I add, business majors, right?
Oh yeah. Oh sure.
How much is 17 times 6? And Don Jr., who can only do math when it's how many animals have you killed, starts laughing and go, I don't know, 96. Ivanka says something like, she doesn't answer. She goes, well, that's a question, blah, 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 like that. And the father, and this kills me, he goes, well, let me see. You take the 11 and then make it that, and then you do this. It's 112. Wow, and Stern says, no, that's not it. It's 102. And one of Stern's guys explains how you get to 102, and Trump won't take that for an answer. He goes, no, it's 112.
No.
And he goes, and then he says it again. No, and I'm looking at this. I'm going, does he think if you just keep saying it enough, 102 gives up.
Well, you know with Trump, you're dealing with grandiose narcissism, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's a narcissist. Yeah, he's a narcissist. He's a malignant narcissist. Yeah.
He has
Stop the equations. Stop the equations.
I mean, he is. It's cluster B. It's you know it's a personality disorder. I mean, it is what it is, and people like that never admit they're wrong.
Have you seen Jamie Foxx's impression of Trump?
No.
Go see it. It's online. It's brilliant.
Okay. I mean, on a far less significant, we used to have. I don't know if you ever saw Bill Kennedy was on TV in the Detroit area for years, and
Sam wouldn't know him.
Oh God, he had been in like 3 Bowery Boy movies at some point, but I mean, he would say
he was also in the Joan of Arc that had Joan of Arc. The
did he play the log that set fire to, or
he was the fire. He was the executioner in Joan of Arc. He's the one that set fire to the twigs. But what was her name? Is Rossellini's wife? What was her name? Ingrid Bergman.
Isabella Rossellini.
Her mother was in that movie that Bill Kennedy.
Yeah.
Anyway, just to give Sammy an update, Bill Kennedy was a B-grade actor that starred with everybody for one scene, and because he got a speaking line, he always got credit. So he could always elevate himself to people in Detroit higher than he ever was. Anyway, so that's the Bill Kennedy, but he was a great movie show host for an afternoon movie.
Say his name again.
Bill
Kennedy.
Well, how he got
like Ted Kennedy.
Yeah,
like Ted Kennedy, but
no, I'm saying that's not Kenny. Kennedy.
Kennedy. Yeah, Kennedy, like the president.
Different Kennedy family, better driver.
Do you remember the advertisement in National Lampoon? It showed a Volkswagen.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And it was like halfway in the lake.
Yes.
And it said, if Ted Kennedy had been driving a VW, he'd be president today.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's great about that? You know what's great about that ad is that was an actual Volkswagen ad. All they did was change the line in it. Yeah, that was a magazine ad that Volkswagen actually ran with some other.
My high school math teacher was Mary Jo Kopechne's roommate in college.
Oh, no kidding!
Wow.
Would not talk about it.
Once again, it's time to play. How close is your brush with greatness?
I once saw Dick Burton taking a piss. I mean, that's I think pretty good.
I wrote for Dick. I wrote for Dick Burton. I sat across from him, handing him scripts in the morning.
Really?
Back in the day, back in the '90s.
He was.
I helped Eric Idle buy some books.
I drove Tommy Chong to
the
airport.
helped Eric Idle buy books? Wow.
Yeah. When I was in LA. Yep. I got you beat on at least 50 people. So.
I had sex with Diane Ford.
But did you fuck Yvonne?
Okay, but really, get in line, Sam. No, just kidding.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just she had a reputation like Caligula. You know what I'm saying? Okay,
Yeah, something was burning. I didn't know what it was.
Well, somebody's bush. Yeah, you might want to put that out.
This is. I don't know if I should. Well, it's too late now. It's been 35, 40 years. When I was in a band, we had a musician in the band. And his girlfriend / fiance, she cheated on him with me. And I always felt bad about it because, I know the guy, I like the guy. I thought, I carried this around for a long time. So I'm talking to our drummer who passed away. I'm talking to his wife. And I told her this story. I said, I had sex with her and I feel very bad and she goes, Sam, You're not the only man in America who had sex with her. Okay. She got a note of thanks from the Marine Band. The few, the proud, the horny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
My mother's best friend was a bit of a crowd pleaser, and when she passed away,
what a euphemism!
Yeah,
isn't that great?
They were crowd
they were for her funeral. They were going to book Michigan Stadium with the lower bowl for the one-timers and upper bowl for the more than one. I mean, she was often her most memorable line was she said, "Oh, fuck Miami," and someone said, "Sue, you have."
So the upper half for the guys who thought, well, I've done it twice. I think she really likes me.
Well, yeah, exactly, right, yeah. Or either that, or I came to and she was on top, something along those lines. Yeah,
she had a pull a number roll on like at the deli.
Someone's going to have to explain to me the justification. I don't know if you watch Law and Order SVU for firing Kelly Giddish.
I have no idea how that works.
Well, she was fired. She's been on the show 12 years. And this is the rationales they gave. Well, we wanted to keep the show current. What does that mean?
I mean, I remember the original Law and Order when they fired Michael Moriarty because he said some unkind things that were absolutely true about Janet Reno.
I got to tell you something. I have to call you on this. I'll tell you why. I have no brief with or against her, but I saw his interview with Bob Costas, and I thought he had lost his mind.
Well, yeah,
it wasn't that it was Diane. It wasn't that it was Janet Reno. It was the tone he took. I literally thought, I swear to God, I thought he had lost his mind. I said that was the thing. Like I said, when Dick Wolf fired him, and Dick Wolf doesn't fire people based on that kind of thing. Dick Wolf is my hero. I watch all 9. I watch all 9 of his shows. But if you had heard Moriarty, he almost said, "I'm going to grab a gun and kill this bitch." I mean, you can't do that if you're on a show. You can't do it.
No, that you're right, and it was just after the Waco affair, and he obviously worked up about it. Now, I didn't see the interview.
I got to tell you something. It was beyond worked up.
I didn't see it. I got to take your word for it because I.
It's got to be on YouTube somewhere.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Wolf kind of kiboshed that.
I do remember seeing him interviewed after he'd been fired, and he seemed rather circumspect and whatnot. But you're right. I didn't see the original interview. I can't speak to that.
And I'm a fan of Moriarty's.
Yeah, and he's a great actor.
He was great on the show.
And is he a little bit freaky off duty? Probably. I hear he's a good jazz pianist too. I mean, didn't he have a gig for years in New York playing in a club, if memory serves?
I don't know the answer. I don't know. You could be. I don't remember him doing that. Doesn't mean he didn't.
Yeah. No.
But I don't know if that's so. I'll tell you the guy who I saw get himself fired and deserved it.
Right.
Was Sinbad.
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard stories of this guy.
Sinbad was on the show A Different World.
Isn't he the one who said I'm gonna rip your fucking head off in front of?
Yes. And he did something so stupid. He was a very smart guy. He was using a computer when no one else had a computer. He had his entire family as his staff, which was a smart thing to do. People you trust. And he was headlining like 3 months after he got into the business. Yeah. So he was very smart. But that which he was stupid about, he was really stupid about.
Yeah.
And so he's doing the TV show A Different World, and he decides that he's not going to give you he's not going to give you your cue line. Right. He's going to make up another line.
Right.
So
the director
the producer came up to him and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm just playing around." I said, "This is costing us money. You can't do this."
Yeah.
And the executive producer came up to him and said, "Have you lost your fucking mind? Don't do this. What the hell's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And that's when Sinbad broke into this big smile and said to the showrunner, listen, I'm smiling so everybody in the audience thinks, we're just joking around. But if you talk to me that way again, I'll rip your goddamn head off.
Yeah.
And that was it. And the thing that's funny is sometimes people survive that. Okay. I haven't seen. Have you seen Sinbad perform anywhere except that show from the islands?
No.
Nowhere. No, can't get a job.
No.
I'm sure he still does. I'm sure he can do clubs. I'm sure he can do clubs, but I don't know if he wants to. And maybe his asking price is too much.
What about the remember the red-haired Irish guy who was on NYPD the first season?
David Caruso.
Thank you. Yes, and decided that he was God's gift to entertainment and
threw a trash can at Dennis. What was his name? Dennis Franz.
Oh yeah,
good idea. Dennis Franz.
Well, there's a whole group of people who made a huge impression. Not like that trash can did on Dennis Franz's head, but made a huge impression on a show. But they were only on it for a year. Caruso, Farrah Fawcett, Chevy Chase.
Got through a season and a half.
Speaking of people who can't get arrested.
Yeah.
But see, once again, he's his worst enemy.
I had to explain to my nephew how Chevy Chase came from an incredibly wealthy, well-to-do family, was a keyboard in a college band that became Steely Dan, was a writer, I think, for the Smothers Brothers in one of their 70s incarnations.
And he also co-wrote Kentucky Fried Movie.
Kentucky Fried Movie. Did he contribute to Groove Tube? I can't remember if he contributed.
It might have been that one.
But one of those 70 comedy films that sketch comedy.
Whichever one had the line very well. Take him to Detroit.
That was Kentucky Fried Movie.
God, that killed me.
But he was such a miserable prick bastard on the set of Saturday Night Live. People would run in terror in the opposite direction when they're hearing him come down the hall. I mean, when Tina Fey was the head writer on Saturday Night Live, and everyone loves her. She's evidently a very nice person. And Lorne Michaels said, how do you feel about Chevy Chase coming back to the show as a guest host? And she said, well, I'm not the showrunner. And when she said that, Lorne Michaels said, okay, he won't. All right, I'll tell him no. And she said, no. She said, no. If you had said, yeah, that's a good idea, then I would. But no, your response was, well, I'm not the show, which means, well, I wouldn't. Right.
And she later told him once he had made up his mind, she didn't want to be the one in position to dictate that.
No, she wasn't. She didn't want to be. Yeah, and it's not up to her.
It's not. And don't ask me to make your decision.
Exactly. I mean, my understanding that to this day, the Milton Berle episode from Saturday Night Live, which was in the first season as well, to this day, Lorne Michaels has kept spiked. It's not in syndication because Berle was just such an asshole.
You know what Berle did?
I pull out his dick. I mean, he was.
Well, no one has that much time. But
he and Forrest Tucker.
But they're doing a rehearsal, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, one of the only reasons they had him on is because Belushi idolized him and insisted he be on. So they're doing the show, or they're rehearsing, I should say. And Burl goes like this, "Hey, Lorne," because Lorne's up in the booth, right? And he goes, "Hey, Lorne." And Bill Murray goes, "That's not your line, Mr. Burl." And Belushi goes, "You should kiss this guy's ass." He goes, and Bill Murray says, "He's 40 years behind the times. I'm not going to kiss his ass because he thinks that is funny."
Ooh. Not bad.
And remember that guy who was on that show with Ted Knight, Jim J. Bullock?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was on Hollywood Squares, and Burl says, "I want to do a stunt with you." He actually said this to the guy, and don't try to be funny and do some of that fag shit you do.
Wow.
And Bullock said, I had to take a moment to tell him, no, this is who I am.
Yeah. Well. He was probably just irritated that Bullock wasn't pawing away at his crotch.
Just show enough to win.
Yeah, no, that was with Forrest Tucker's line. Just pull out enough.
Was it?
Yeah, Forrest Tucker was renowned as being, he and Milton Berle were the big men of their era.
Also Willem Dafoe. I
would believe that. You've never seen him, but it wouldn't surprise me. You know, I think he was in
what's his name?
You know,
Last Temptation of Christ.
Yeah, he was up at the cross, but I it's really wasn't. I'm not like trying to check out Jesus's Junk, which is really a great punk band from the '80s. If you think about it, that's a great name. But and a great movie. I mean, that movie got so pilloried, and it's like I don't understand.
Well, that's because we were in the era of you can't do anything about Jesus, nothing about. Shut up, just stop.
That was a Protestant thing. So I mean that because to me I found the movie rather affirming, not contradictory or sacrilegious in any way. But yeah, well, again the '80s did have a certain fervency, shall we say? With the Jerry Falwells and although I liked what Blair said about Jerry Falwell losing his virginity to his mom in the outhouse. I thought that was a great little witticism.
Well, Falwell, there was I forget what the movie, he was doing a sermon.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And he said, these people, these faggots, and he said that.
Oh, wow.
God, I love that.
Let me tell you something. I grew up in Washington, D.C., and I had a cousin who lived in Richmond, Virginia. So my mother and I would go visit her, my cousin Ann. And on the way there, this is before there were highways, super highways. On the way there, I had my little transistor radio, good times. And I'd be listening to whatever I could get, You're in the middle of Virginia, just be grateful. And all of a sudden I hear, because it was a Sunday, the Liberty Road Baptist Church Hour with Jerry Falwell.
Oh boy, yeah.
And let me tell you something. Though whatever the opposite of love thy neighbor is, that's what Falwell was doing.
Well, yeah. I mean, but who couldn't? I never did understand the folks who couldn't see through all this horse shit from a mile away. You remember what's his name? Jimmy Swaggart. With his shit. He's related to Mickey Gilley and
Jerry Lee Lewis.
And Jerry Lee Lewis.
Well,
he's having a hooker from Baton Rouge run around the car naked while he
a $10 hooker.
Yeah, I mean, and oh yeah, I saw her pictures in Penthouse, and I'm thinking I look better in fishnets than that. And, and I'm only marginally better endowed than she is, but bigger tits, and but this is who these people are.
Can I tell you something? When they were growing up, people thought that Jerry Lee Lewis would be the preacher and Swaggart would be the rock and roller.
Well, yeah, I can see that. I mean,
but then Jerry Lee Lewis won on that "Don't Take Your Teenage Cousin Swimming" tour.
Shows up in England. She was 13 or 14 at that.
Yeah, she was 13 years old.
13. Well, I mean, come on, she's in double digits.
But she had the body of a 15-year-old.
Hey, come on! There's grass on the field. It's ready to play. I mean, I grew up around.
That's hysterical.
Hey, I mean, granted, you're crossing a line when you're taking a Baldy Sour into your bed, but I mean, come on. Once they're, I don't know. My mother was deliberately. She said she had no problem with God. She just couldn't stand the people who worked for him. and that's why we were not church going people. Sunday morning was for hangovers.
Really?
Sunday morning was for hangovers, big breakfast, lots of newspaper, and watching the Lions lose. That was as close to church as we ever got. So, and my father, who was raised a Catholic, absolutely hated the Pope and hated the Catholics. So, yeah, it's sort of like a cross between Hee Haw and Rosemary's Baby.
My father hated Mary Ellen Pope because she got ripped off on Pam.
Oh God! Although we did like big religious movies, we always got to watch the Ten Commandments and Ben-Hur, But that was back when there was only 3 channels, and that was a Sunday night thing. And always fun to watch Charlton Heston try and act.
That was a great. I loved Ben-Hur. I thought that was a great movie, Ben-Hur.
I've got like 2 copies of it, the DVD, and I bought a copy from YouTube. I love Ben-Hur. I watch Cleopatra right now is on YouTube free. A nice
4-hour movie.
It's a great movie. Elizabeth Taylor is one of the most beautiful women ever. I mean, ever.
Yeah.
The most amazing blue eyes, a great nude scene in that movie. You could see why armies and ships were sent in her behalf, man. I mean, and after that movie, that's when she got the Krupp diamond. That's when Richard Burton bought it for her, and someone.
Well, I love the scene in Cleopatra when she says to Rex Harrison when they're in bed, she goes, "My thighs are firm and made for bearing children." And I thought, does she know that's not how you have kids?
She's Cleopatra. She's 17.
I'm sure she figured out a way. I mean, the Ptolemies didn't have a lot of sharp knives in the drawer, but she was one of them.
Well, the work she did in Virginia Woolf.
Oh my God,
brilliant! Brilliant show.
Mike Nichols' first movie as a director.
Yeah.
And again, I've got a copy of that as well.
Was it really?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
was that before? Yeah, that was before the. Wait a minute. When did he do The Graduate?
67.
Okay, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I think it was shot in 66, released in 67, but Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf was 65.
Right.
And that movie, I mean, for everything from the set decoration through the music. I forget who does the music, but it's the same person who did the music for Cool Hand Luke, if memory serves. I have to look it up. But the cinematography, and when you have Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor just going at each other, hammer and tong, again,
they didn't have to make it up. They're just reliving their lives. It's like,
well, again, my parents thought it was a documentary on their marriage. So
yes, that was.
The only difference being is that there was a little more liquor and firearms in my parents' marriage.
Yes,
I waited on Elizabeth Taylor when she did what was the thing she did with Burton? She did play with him.
Sandpiper?
Little Foxes.
Yeah.
Little Foxes. No, right. And I waited. I waited on her.
Oh dear.
You gotta lean closer to your microphone.
The place
dude.
I was waiting tables. Huh?
Closer to your microphone.
There you go.
The play was Little Foxes, and she was drinking, as was her wont. And she said to me, and I waited on her like 2 days in a row, so she got to know me. And she goes, "Sam, do you think I drink way too much or just too much?" And I said, "I think you should declare Jim Beam as a dependent." And she said, "You are a funny little man." And I said, "Little, huh? Where do you get a load of this?" And I whipped it out. My membership card in Vic Tanny. No, but she was I'll tell you also is really nice. And I waited on him was Al Pacino.
Oh, cool.
He was doing the Mammoth. I can't remember the name of the Mammoth play he did, but
Wasn't Glenn Gary Glenn Ross?
No. He did the movie of that. He played Ricky Romer.
American Buffalo.
Thank you, American Buffalo.
Yes,
that's great.
Yeah.
And so I waited on him for a whole week, and he says to me, "Listen, I got to, if you want to see the play, I got a couple of tickets." And I said to him, "There's nothing I'd like more, but I'm a stand-up comic, and starting tomorrow, I'm going on a 2-week gig.
Yeah.
And it's going to be out of town." And Pacino goes, "Oh, well, forgive me, Mr. I'm a professional performer, and I can't come see Al Pacino. You shitbag." And he said, "When are you coming back?" And I said, "The 15th. And he goes, "Well, that's the last night of the show. Do you want to see it?" I went, "Wouldn't it have been great if I said, no. So I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." And he set aside 2 tickets for me.
Nice.
Who else was nice? Adam Ant was nice.
Really?
The Romantics. Yeah. The Romantics were terrible.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
They were terrible.
That's our town.
Yeah, I mean,
they're from Hamtramck, right? Those Romantics.
That's right. Detroit's own Romantics.
Soupy Sales was fun. Soupy Sales he says, "I could go for a drink." And this woman walks by and goes, "I could go for a cheap broad like her."
Yeah.
What
was the name of that? What was the name of that place up in Flint? That was an add-on to the Holly Hotel. Mark?
What, the Holly Hotel?
The Holly Hotel, but there was a place in Flint. There was a strip joint. That was the last night.
Oh yeah.
The
last night when you worked the Holly Hotel, you did a Wednesday in Saginaw. You did the Holly Hotel, then you did a Sunday night in Flint.
Yeah, I did the Holly Hotel.
Yeah. So anyway, with the Soupy Sales,
they had a fight, Tim. We didn't talk about it on the show, but they had a fire in June. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, Soupy Sales. I opened for Soupy Sales at that place, the strip club, and Soupy Sales came in with 2 hookers and got his money and left. So
I like that.
Yeah,
did he perform?
He knew
his act.
What's that?
Did he perform his act?
Yeah, he did. He performed his act.
His wife Trudy was a June Taylor dancer.
Ah,
okay, makes sense.
But this
his son was a drummer for Iggy Pop
and David Bowie.
Wow.
Hunt Sales.
Yeah, Hunt Sales. Yep. Hunt Sales probably, and he's probably making it's at his drum solo is what you hear at the beginning of those cruise ships that they use Iggy's tune for. Lust for Life.
Yeah, and he worked, and I don't know if you mentioned this. He also worked with David Bowie.
Yeah, they were Tin Machine.
Oh, yeah, he did.
They did a couple albums with David Bowie, and although there's the
Hunt
Bowie
and Tony Sales.
Yeah, Hunt and Tony Sales. Yes.
You ever wonder if Hunt ever said to his father, "How come he got the regular name?" What kind of name is Hunt?
Well, it might not have necessarily. He might not have understood the rhyme of that name at that time. I don't know. I mean, later on.
What's that joke? What's the difference between a strip show and a magic show? A magic show is a cunning array of stunts. And what's the difference between a rooster and a lawyer? A rooster clucks defiance.
And you do know why why lawyers were used to replace laboratory rats in AIDS research. Because there's just some things a rat won't do. Yeah.
You know who had a joke like that? John Mendoza. He said, they're trying to use mice for experiments in AIDS. And the mice seem to be very resistant. And it turns out, mice will do drugs, smoke, do anything you want. They're not taking it up the ass.
Now, John Mendoza, there's a guy I've lost touch with. I was in touch with him for a long time.
I wonder what he's doing now.
I don't know, but I mean, right up until about 2008, 2010, something like that, I was in regular contact with him, because I used to work with him a lot at the Improv.
Oh, I was a big. He used to date Sue Kalinsky.
Yeah.
And but I thought the world of him. He was a very nice guy.
Yeah. He was.
He and I did a series of gigs in the Deep South, Savannah, Georgia, someplace. Oh God, I can't remember the name of it now. So it was Savannah, Georgia, and two other spots, and we had to take a bus, like a Greyhound bus, from one gig to the other. And I thought Mendoza was going to eat his own head. He was so unhappy on that bus. He said, I can't do this. I'm getting off. I said, if you get off, you're going to be in the middle of nowhere. Don't do this to yourself. He goes, I don't give a shit. If this is where I have to die, I said, stop it. Well, what are you, the Alamo? Stop it. Christ. If this is where I have to die, shut up.
Backyard production of Midnight Cowboy.
He had Mendoza. Yeah. I always likened his character to Stephen Wright getting the part of Lurch on Addams Family.
That's funny. My favorite joke of Mendoza was, and you know that look he had, that hangdog look.
Yes.
He goes, I'd be a terrible waiter. If you think you asked me for coffee, I'd be right back. What was it? What it was? We were in Savannah, and it was a place. I think it was. Yeah, it had to be Georgia. It wasn't South Carolina. We were in Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, and I can't remember the third place. But it was the manager of the place. His girlfriend was this really hot, really, really good looking, miserable, racist bitch. And she had a friend who I happened to bring up the name. I remember this is 1980 something. I happened to bring up the name Jane Fonda. And she goes, you mean the communist? I said, no, that's her. I said, that's her ne'er-do-well sister. No. So Mendoza, and she, she badmouthed Hispanics. She called them spics, and of course Mendoza was Latino, and he lied to her and told her he was Italian. Now we were staying at the manager's house. He had a 6-bedroom house, and Mendoza said, listen, what are you doing tonight? I said, me? I'm just going to do some reading. He goes, all right, along about 10:30, I'm going to be having sex with her. I said, thanks for keeping me up to date. What do I give a shit? And he goes, no, I'm telling you. Yeah, really. It's a little anal, no pun intended. So I said to him, he said, the reason I'm telling you is because about 5 minutes into it, I'm going to tell her that I'm Latino, and I want you to be ready for this. So I'm reading, and
like
all of a sudden I hear a scream, like someone's being scalded. And about 5 minutes after that, I hear the front door slam. And I said, so what happened? He said, well, after I told her, I said to her, you have to stay because I stayed on you for 8 seconds.
Oh, like the rodeo. Yeah.
Exactly. And so the next day, she didn't stay. She wasn't there. Yeah. And her friend says, your little friend was very rude. I said, I'm sorry, but when I think of my little friend, it's something you've never seen. And she goes, well, I mean, Mr. Mendoza. I said, do you need an eye exam? I'm 5'6". He's 6'2". Who the hell are you calling a little friend? She goes, okay, your Spanish boyfriend. I go, now you're telling me I'm not only isn't he Spanish, but he's not my boyfriend. So then I said, oh, you know something? I just realized where we are. My boyfriend. So then I said, oh, you know something? I just realized where we are.
Getting some echo here.
Yes, there is.
There you go.
Now there's not.
No, there's none.
What was the name? What was the name of that goddamn town? It had to be. It had to be big enough to have a comedy club, and it wasn't Savannah, and it wasn't Charleston.
But they didn't have the typical comedy condo for you guys to.
They had it. They had it. There wasn't there. There was a comedy zone in Wrightsville Beach, which would have been a town that was a little bit larger but not real big. Remember Wrightsville Beach?
I never got over the fact that the biggest booker of comedy in the South was Abe Greenberg.
Yeah.
All I could think of was, what won't my people do for money?
Abe Greenberg.
Well,
Abe Greenberg here. How y'all doing?
Now, I've heard so many stories of the comedy condos over the years. One of my favorites was Dennis Miller talking about this one place. He goes, there was Andromeda strain on the shower curtain. And
oh, that's you know the story about him and Chris DePetta, right?
You've touched on it before that his opener was also some sort of a serial.
No, there was no toilet paper at the condo.
Okay.
So he called Chris. He didn't know what else to do. And it's one of these situations where he had to go, so therefore he couldn't go, if you know what I'm saying. And so he called Petta and said, Chris, could you do me a favor? Could you get one of the guys to work for you or somebody? And Chris said, your hand, you son of, just was a bad, not the thing to say.
Right.
So now go ahead a couple of years.
And the funniest thing is, go ahead.
So go ahead a couple of years, and now Miller is on Saturday Night Live. And DePetta's in the audience at Catch. And Miller's doing a set. And he says, I was just at a club in the Deep South, the I Don't Get It Club. and DePetta says, maybe it's your act. And Miller says, oh, gee, Chris, I'm hurt. In fact, I cry. And if you want to see me cry, turn on that 9-inch black and white TV me on Saturday Night Live. And he said, you know the difference between you and me, Chris? I'm a prick, but I'm a funny prick. And then Miller lost his mind, and all he could talk about was the night he had dinner with Sinatra.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were at the Des Inn, and Frank came over to me and said, you're in my chick seat. No, he didn't say, I don't think so, He adored Sinatra.
Well, I remember Miller talking about when he was coming up. It was what's his name? Who was the sort of the Black Prince of the New York comedy scene? Who was the DJ? Oh, come on, he was on NY. He was on one of the
Jerry Stanley.
Belzer. He was talking about how Richard Belzer was sort of like the Anton LaVey of comedy at that time. And I could see it because I remember Belzer from the 70s. He was in, I think he was in, I forget which movie, Groove Tube or one of those movies. And I'd heard some of his stuff because he was sort of an underground comedian around here. So we got some of that on the radio and, late night stuff. And I always liked Belzer because he was, again, he was sort of a dark soul who was funnier than hell.
Well, you know what he did that was amazing? He had 2 failed marriages. And then he married the woman who's his present wife, and they've been together for like 30 years. And she has 2 daughters who he essentially raised as his own.
Right.
And he said one day, you know, I've been on a hit TV show for over a decade. I'm married to a beautiful woman. She has 2 fabulous daughters. He goes, I had no idea Jews could be this happy.
Does he ever do stand-up anymore? He was a brilliant.
Oh, no, he won't do stand-up. He won't do it.
Wow. It's hard. I would think it's hard to do it once you've got.
Can I tell you something? When he tried to do stand-up, after, a number of years, he just did the same shit he always did. Why black people trying to go to the bathroom, and Mick Jagger, impression of Mick Jagger. It was just the same shit over and over and over. And one night it was him and Larry Miller, and I believe, I can't remember this guy's name. He did Jeff and Pink Lady.
I know what you're talking about.
Jeff Altman.
Yeah, Jeff Altman.
And they performed at Radio City Music Hall. And this is not an exaggeration. 7 people in the audience.
Oh,
wow.
Because I figured Larry Miller would get a few more people than that. I mean, come on.
Well, you know the old joke. The crowd wore a white shirt.
Oh God, yeah, that's. Another guy who used to do great stand-up, and I don't think he's done it in 40 years, is Michael Keaton.
Oh, he won't do it. Once these guys are actors.
Yeah.
And I understand this, and you said, and I think you guys do too. Once you become an actor, you're not going out there and showing people. No.
You know who still does it? You'll be surprised. Tim Allen.
Larry Miller.
Yeah.
No, Tim Allen. Tim Allen still does
really
does shows. Yep.
Yeah. A couple years ago, Steve Martin went out and did some stand-up for the first time in like 30 years.
He's more comfortable doing his show with Martin Short. They did that. Yeah. They have that conversation with type show.
And Steve
Martin, I remember when he played an acrobat at Atlantic City, the Great Flydini.
Yes.
No, but Tim Allen,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, Tim Allen still does. Well, now he doesn't have a show, so he's doing a lot more shows this year.
Right.
But he always had 2 writers on staff that would feed him stand-up lines. In other words, all right, didn't make the show, but the way he had it set up, that second show especially, that second show was set up where he could take lines that were maybe written for the show, go, well, that's, not for the show, but that'd be great in a stand-up act. And so he's always kept his act fresh.
Okay.
And
when I worked with him,
I tell you what, Lowell Sanders.
Huh?
Lowell Sanders is kept working because of Tim Allen. He's been Tim Allen's opening act for 30 years now.
Oh yeah.
Really?
When I worked with Lowell Sanders, he played the same. He was driving. He played the same goddamn tape over and over again.
Oh,
over
that sounds like
and oh man, I said, we're coming to a truck stop. I will buy you another tape. I said, now it's going to be Mahler's Third Symphony, but I will buy you another tape.
Yeah, do worse than Mahler.
He's got a gig like Mark Schiff has a gig opening for Jerry Seinfeld.
Another. Well, was it Louis C.K. still? Because he was on Rogan not too long ago. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, and he was renowned for putting together an hour's worth of material a year.
Yep.
But you know what Seinfeld said about that, which is true. They said to Seinfeld, "Why can't you do that?" He said, "Because I don't curse." He said, "If you curse," he said, "I have nothing against Louis cursing. If that's what he does, God bless him." He said, "But cursing really, really makes your act easier to do.
Yeah.
He said, I have to really, really take my time, and how do I do that? And I think he's right.
Yeah,
He
is.
wasn't bitter about it. It wasn't like, well, Louis does this and he does. No, he said, that's fine. I don't care if he curses. I don't.
Yeah.
He said, but it makes it harder to do.
Yeah, a clean act can make their thing dirtier better than a dirty act making it clean.
Well, there's some truth to that. There's some serious truth to that.
Yeah.
But you have to have command either way. You know, whether you do one or the other. Just because you're saying dirty, I didn't like Eddie Murphy's first TV or first movie when he comes out there and says "fuck" some record number of time, and it's like it wasn't funny to me. Because okay, he's loud and he can say "fuck." Well, great, lots of people can. Doesn't mean
the first time I realized that Bill Cosby was a liar was when he said, he was on the Oprah show, and he said, I never do drug jokes, never ever. And I swear to God, I'm watching the Tonight Show, and Bill Cosby is substituting for Carson, and he comes on, and the first line he does is, moths smoke dope. And he does, that's why they don't move, and you can hit them and blah, 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 blah. But don't say I've never done drug jokes, because that's like saying, all right, so it was 60 women. It wasn't 62 like everyone says.
Bill Cosby again.
Well, fellas, we've done our hour, and I don't have my outro music because I'm on my phone tonight. So it was great talking to everybody. Great discussions about the day, about today, about back in the day, about all our comedy friends, and it was good talking to everybody. But I got things to do, and I'm going to end the show now. Stick around. We can chat afterwards.
Bring back Kelly Giddish to SVU. God damn it!
And we'll leave it at that. And I'll let you guys know when we're off, and we can still chat here a little. I don't know if I can do that on the phone like I do